Hello. There we go. There's the microphone. Hello. Hope you had a wonderful week. We are live. My name is Todd. Welcome in. Glad you're here. We got 5 amazing member requested videos for you today. Looking forward to it. Hope you are as well. And before we jump in, of course, toddreacts.com. That's where the members go to request videos, or at least sign up for it. The request is done via the Discord, which we will talk about very shortly. So check out the season and series tiers at toddreacts.com. A winter collection of merch available right now for a limited time, 15% off for members. Tons of different colors to choose from, different sizes, all that good stuff. And every piece of article, I guess you could say, has a size guide so you can make sure you have the proper fit, and quality is guaranteed on all orders. Accessories as well, you could go ahead and check those out. Ships worldwide, as I said. And if you're already there on the YouTube channel and you're watching this not live, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Todd Reacts. Over 14,500 of you have already hit that subscribe button. It's a free, easy way to check out the channel, support the channel, all that good stuff. Hopefully the algorithm works out. You know, it's one of those things you can't really control, and you just hope for the best. But there's over 1,200 videos in the backlog there. So if you're watching live via Twitch and you're like, what? There's more? Yes, there's a lot more, and you got a lot to catch up on. So good luck. And there's playlists as well. I like to point that out every once in a while, that if you're looking for something specific, chances are there's a playlist for it. I'll just zoom through real quick. There's more, so go ahead and check those out. And of course, last but certainly not least, the Discord. There it is. You can see at the top, it tells you I'm live, which is what I am. I am live. And it gives you a nice little link to the Twitch channel as well right there. It'll bring up the app if you have it downloaded. It'll just bring up a web browser if you don't. Equally easy to watch the stream. And of course, we have all these wonderful fandom channels of over 280 members in the Discord. I think we're at 284 right now. Closing in on 300, all that good stuff. And then we have some fun community ones as well, as you can see here. And you can check that out. Did I have a good Christmas and New Year? I did. I absolutely did. I flew home to some family about 1,200 miles away, and had a fun time. It was very difficult weather-wise because I went from like semi-mild temperatures to just bitter cold and snow falling sideways. That's how much snow there was. There was a ton of wind. It felt like a blizzard. It was literally single digits in Fahrenheit, which is so unbelievably cold. It's well below freezing. It was just quite a change, but I had a great time with family. It was nice to see everybody. Christmas Day was wonderful. And yeah, New Year was great. New Year was great. Had a little bubbly drink, and enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it. Actually, we watched the eastern coast of the U.S. countdown, and then we watched the Central Time, which I think they host that in Nashville, Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. I've never made it. I've never stayed up until the West Coast. Maybe that's something to shoot for next year or something, but I've never been awake for California time zone. But getting out of bed and to work has been difficult. It has indeed. Oh my gosh. I was blessed. I was absolutely blessed. I didn't quite have 2 weeks off, but I have a ton of paid time off, vacation time, holiday time for those of you across the water there. Ton of it. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just round it out and make it a nice even 2 weeks. So I had a nice 2 weeks off, which made it extremely difficult to come back to work. This was the first week back. I survived. Hopefully you did as well. If you're in school, well, you had an easy time. So it was definitely interesting. Boy, waking up this week has been brutal because I start my mornings very early. I wake up for work at 5:15 in the morning on Tuesday through Thursday, and then on Mondays and Fridays I wake up at like 6:30. So it's not terrible, but it's also very early, very very early. I kind of like that better. They're a little flexible with my work schedule, so I can get in there pretty early and then also leave before the rush hour hits too bad. So try to beat the traffic on both ends of the day. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I like the flexibility of it for sure. So I hope everybody else had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. It's so tragic. You wait all year and then it's just over. You get to it and it's so fast. It's gone before you know it. Ugh. It's just brutal. Absolutely brutal. Had a week off for Christmas, thankfully. Nice. That's good. 5 a.m. as well. Yeah, it's rough, but I guess you kind of get used to it in a weird way. Really makes you look forward to the weekend. And honestly, I think waking up earlier makes the week go by faster. If that makes any sense, because you're done sooner in the day. So it almost makes it feel like the next day is starting quicker. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just a little psychological trick that I play on myself. I always used to, especially when I was in a brutal job, when I was in customer service in one of those call center kind of things, although I was working like chats, I would always, as soon as I got off work, immediately, and I had the early shifts as well, as soon as I got off work, I immediately in my mind started referring to the day as the next day. And that made it go by so much faster. I'm a scrub nurse, so early on long days. Yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine. I don't get home till after 7. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is such long hours. I am not jealous of the long hours, I'll say that. But yeah, it can definitely grind on you. It could definitely do that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, holidays were great. Holidays were absolutely great. So I hope it was nice for everybody else. It was a nice little escape, you know? Like it was just somewhere else. Maybe if you were in the same place, at least you had some sort of like mental escape. Just flying somewhere was enough for me to like plug out and, just forget that I even was employed. But the last couple days, I just, you get that doom, that Sunday doom or the Sunday nightmares or whatever the heck you call it, where you just start counting the days down and the time goes by faster and you're just like, oh gosh, 2 more days. And then the next day you're like, oh my gosh, 1 more day. And then the day of you're like, no. It's just, I always get that every weekend. Friday night, phenomenal. Tonight's great. Tonight is awesome. It's Friday night. I got 2 more days off. And then Saturday, you're like, hey, it's not as good, but it's pretty great. I still got Sunday. And then Sunday, you're just like, oh boy. Start to doom scroll in real time is what you're doing. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. But, yeah, such is life, I say. Such is life. All right, we got 5 amazing. Let's pick it up. The weekend's over. We're celebrating. It's Friday night. All that good stuff. I'm excited. I hope you are as well. Let's see. We're going to start off with DPR Ian. There's a video here on how the inhumane K-pop industry intensified his dissociative identity disorder. Interesting. I'm going to start off a little serious, a little introspective, I guess you could say. And then we're going to follow that up with the blood of youth, which should be interesting. And after that, we do have another DPR Ian. If you were here for live stream, you would have heard one of his songs playing during the opening credits, which is always fun. I try to find something that relates to whatever we're watching or maybe a time period or something like that. And then after that, hope it's not boring for you. It's not going to be boring. There's no way. Absolutely not. I always like to hear We don't do a lot of like interview or kind of like podcasty kind of stuff here. We don't really do that very much. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a nice change of pace. If there's one thing I do enjoy from your algorithms, it's the variety. The variety is unbelievable. So, we all have these algorithms, right? And we try to, vary it up every once in a while. I'm sure you get the same kind of videos pretty much every day kind of thrown at you. But you just multiply that number by the amount of toddreacts.com members, and all of a sudden, like, these streams are so varied and you don't know what's coming next. And it's really cool. It's really awesome. And then we're going to follow that up with a foundation. It's a show. We're going to follow that up with a compilation. And then we will end stream and kick off your hopefully wonderful weekend with Stranger Things, Volume 5. And it's going to be a bunch of TikToks. And I have not seen Stranger Things since I watched Season 1. I think I watched all of Season 1. And then for some reason, life just kind of happened. But yeah, I definitely watched Season 1. I enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. It definitely is one of those shows that starts a little slow, I noticed, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes, if it's a certain, I don't know, your life's in a certain place, maybe you don't stick to it as much. But there's nothing wrong with those because chances are they usually pick up. So, all right, I'm excited for it. I have no idea. I've heard a lot about Stranger Things. And apparently they released something to theaters. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what's going on. But I've heard a lot about it. And I've seen a lot of advertisements. And so this would be kind of an interesting thing. I guess spoiler alerts. This is going to go over some Volume 5 stuff. So just a heads up on that. But let's go ahead and jump into it. We got DPR Ian on how inhumane K-pop industry intensified his dissociative identity disorder. Sounds serious. Yeah. I mean, if I were to guess as to where this is going, I would guess that the K-pop industry expects a lot out of people. A lot. You got to look a certain way. You got to be a certain way. You can't go too off the beaten path, if you will. You got to maintain image, what you say, how you say it. It seems very image focused, obviously, but I don't know. Maybe that can, long hours, certainly, choreography, the amount of choreography you have to learn and memorize and do. It is a lot. And certainly the public eye is massive. It is international, which is something a lot of people don't really have to deal with much. But yeah, it should be very interesting. I'm excited to see what he has to say about it. He goes a lot more in depth into it and the seriousness of what happened to him on his own live streams. Not much detail in the interesting. Okay. Good to know. Let's go ahead and jump in.
That's actually me switching. That's not me acting. Because you feel it. You know when you're going to switch because you feel it. I can't do it on command.
DPR Ian is one of the few Australians selected to become K-pop idols. He launched from a life of music and metal in Australia's Wollongong to idol stardom when he moved to Korea and was scouted to join the hugely successful K-pop group C-Clown. He's now independent and creating a new blueprint for the industry with DPR, the Dream Perfect Regime Collective, and his videos, which he edits himself because the guy can do everything, amass millions of views. But it's been a whole ride to get here.
Yeah, the song that I played for the opening credits had 85 million listens on YouTube alone.
Yes.
Welcome home.
Thank you.
I'm really interested in your determination to move to Korea and that period of your life. What was your life in that? Were you planning? How did you prep for that?
At that time I was like, I better really just take a plane and head over to Korea. No plans, and I just told my mum, I'm going. And she was like, just get into uni first. So I got into uni, but then my mum was like, you got to save money yourself. I did a gig handing out pamphlets at the time.
Oh, the promotional gear?
Yes.
Yeah, I've done
Oh,
those.
you've done those?
100%,
They like,
yeah.
you did that too? Oh my Lord.
Yeah,
I mean, the money's
like,
great.
handing out, yeah.
I can't believe you did that too. Yeah, it's weird. I remember one term it was like a chocolate, and I had to dress up as a chocolate.
Was it like a bar?
Oh,
chocolate
no.
bar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Oh,
was
no.
avoiding any eye contact with people that I knew.
Yep.
Luckily, I got the money saved up and went to Korea. And it was a rough journey because I didn't know nothing about Korea. And I remember like the first few months I got scammed. I lost all my money and I had to stay at these.
Oh my gosh.
You know, these saunas. You don't sleep there, like you don't stay there, but I had to stay there because I didn't want to tell my mum that I failed in the first 3 months of going there. Because I told her, I was like, I'm gonna get a job. And she's like, if nothing happens in the 2 months, you have to come back. I scouted on the street and, you know, went into the trainee days, idle days. Yeah.
So you managed to like stay a couple more months, and those months were like the opportune months that kind of changed your life.
Apparently so.
Yeah, this is how the workplace. Yeah, this is how the workplace.
Immediately they put me into the trainee rooms. I met all the other trainees and all that. You know, it was a bit weird, eh?
What's up, everyone? We are C-Clown!
And what was the training schedule like?
For us back in the days, very strict. Wake up like 5, head to the studio, practice. If you're late a minute, you have to kneel on the floor and you have to sit in the corner, like time out. And
Oh my
you
gosh.
go back home like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and then you just repeat that throughout the whole week. It's a lot better now. That's what I hear. But back in 2010s, 12s, it was like at its peak era of like, you have slave contracts. You know, it's just so shady, but getting like the backhand of that just did something to me. So
It's a grueling, pretty like intense process.
it's, oh man, I thought it was inhumane, but you know, but that's literally the life that, you know, trainees live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people really want kind of that.
Oh my God, they don't know. See, I didn't know that either. Like, you
Yeah.
don't know what.
Honestly, it kind of reminds me of what he's talking about is military boot camp. Like you have to survive if you want a ticket to the show, basically. And they just put you through the ringer and try to teach you everything they can within a certain amount of time. Like that's rough.
What
Those are
that
crazy
gruesome
hours.
and grueling side of that life is, because no one really tells you. No, you just think, okay, the minute I'm an idol, it means it's an immediate success, which is not the case. But you have all these other hidden layers of groups that don't even make the cut line, and there's about 100 of them.
You've chatted a bit about your bipolar and your dissociative
Yeah.
identity disorder. For people who don't understand that experience, how would you explain it to them?
Well, I don't even know where to start. For example, DID, it's like disassociating yourself. So it's kind of like waking up in a new body, new mind, new likes, new dislikes. It's kind of living with, I think, another you that is completely separate from who you identify as a person. For me anyway, personally, I never really get a choice of when that takes a turn. And you just keep going back and forth from that person. Like, if you decide not to show people your most vulnerable side, you would have a choice to not show it.
Right, I see what you're saying.
But I never really got a chance to not show it. I'll switch out, just like, I'll all of a sudden be, I'll be like doing something like as somebody else.
Yeah.
And it would feel like when I come back, I wouldn't really understand what I did or who I was or none of that. So it would be unbelievable.
That sounds terrible.
I knew what I was doing when I started naming it.
His name is Minor.
You should never just name your personas or your alters. That gives it so much more power. But the thing is, for people that are going through it, you can't tell them not to do that. So the first time I showed Myra to the world was a music video called So Beautiful. That's actually me switching. That's not me acting. Because you feel it. Like, the reason is you know when you're going to switch because you feel it. It's not, I can't do it on command. Now what happens with DID is if you can't associate yourself with an emotion and it's something that you want to go further away from, you would create an area in your mind that you would run to. It's okay in the beginning, but the more and more you're faced with trauma, like the minute you feel it, you're out. So it's no longer like, I'm gonna go back. It's like your body's immediate response to just open the door and kick you out. Because I didn't know that. So I didn't know that during my idol days. I just thought this is the only way I can cope with it, like the only way. So I just kept doing that.
Well, you have like DPR now.
Yes, I do apparently. No. Shame.
Good to know. What do you want to take from that experience?
I think being an idol taught me like what I shouldn't do. There wasn't really an independent show for like artists, because we had to follow a systematical
format. System?
Yeah, in order for us to make it or get there. But I wanted to break that. I just wanted to show people that you could be very genuine with what you do artistically and still have an audience.
My name's DPR Ian and I'm back home. Thank you guys.
Very interesting. I appreciate the breakdown of what that is, what it's like. It's not surprising that he would have to escape into something like that. DID comes from severe repeated childhood trauma. He obviously has never gone into detail. Yeah, I can't blame him. That's brutal. Oh my gosh. You always kind of guess that, an industry is regulated and so contractual as K-pop, that there is obviously, or was definitely, a shady side to it. I think that's universal in pretty much every music industry. There's always people that are going to demand more from you, the artist or idol. And that can get definitely abusive. Sounds like it did, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and bring up some information on DPR. DPR Ian, here we go. Bring up the wiki first. Born in 1990, Australian singer, dancer, songer? Why did I just say that? Singer, songwriter, dancer, producer, director, based in LA. Former member, obviously, of C Clown, which was active from 2012 to 2015. Made his solo debut, his co-founded label Dream Perfect Regime, with the digital single So Beautiful in 2020. He was the 10th most streamed K-pop male solo artist globally on Spotify in 2022. Obviously born in Sydney, Australia in 1990. Born Christian Yu. That's incredible that he's able to he's able to edit and produce and all that stuff. Like, it's just amazing. He said that his idol days where he triggered his DID, he became more aware of it. Interesting. I'm not surprised. It definitely seems like he went through quite a bit during those days. DPR Ian and Live released the track Diamonds and Pearls as part of the soundtrack to the Marvel film Shang-Chi and the Lord of the Ten Rings. Very cool. Two of the first Korean artists to participate in a Marvel soundtrack album. Very neat. 8 facts you didn't know about Korean-Australian singer DPR Ian. There's more than meets the eye to this heartthrob. While some may know him for his buttery smooth vocals, and others go crazy over his bad boy aesthetic, there are still a few out there who aren't familiar with the singer despite him being in the industry after more than a decade. He's a singer, rapper, and director. Seems like nothing he can't do. Number 1, he's Korean-Australian. Multicultural background also means he's fluent in both English and Korean. Started as a dance YouTuber in Australia back in 2008. Oh, wow. An OG. when he was only 18 years old, was uploading videos of him dancing on his own YouTube channel, which you can still find on the platform. Wow. Eventually, he decided to move to Korea to chase his dreams, as we heard. In an interview, he shared that he had no plans to become an idol, but he was discovered by an entertainment agency on the street. Struggled with singing originally. Impressive dance skills won them over. He was the leader of the K-pop group C-Clown. Gained some international fame, but faced significant challenges shortly after their debut, including the sudden death of the agency's CEO shortly after their debut. Oh my gosh. Aside from that, the group struggled with some of the contracts, which Ian described as a tough experience. Difficulties, along with discussions starting in 2014, led to the group's disbandment in 2015, with all members agreeing to the decision. He was one of the founding members of the DPR. He's also a director, as we talked about. Open about his mental health, as we heard. Sharing his struggles with bipolar disorder openly on his social media, especially on his Instagram Live, as was mentioned. By talking about these issues, his openness not only helps break down the stigma around mental health issues, but also offers support and understanding to his fans who might be facing similar battles. He loves laksa. Unlike many international celebs who have graced our shores, it seems the fans were delighted to learn that Ian enjoys a dish that's a bit more underrated compared to popular favorites like chili crab. Performing in Singapore this December. Oh, wow. So he performed in 2024. Very cool. Very, very neat. Diving deep into DPR Ian's past and present. But like many in the industry, he's not an overnight success. Behind all that is someone who started as a dance YouTuber, as we gone over. All right, let's do this. Born in Sydney. Interview with Teen Vogue, he shared that he was raised by his mom after his parents split when he was young. Mentioned that he was in a performing arts school and played the drums in a heavy metal band. He was influenced by the musicals he saw as a child, and he mentioned going to circuses that were going around towns in Australia as well. It's not unusual for people to get exposed to music and arts at a young age, but Ian seems to have a knack for picking up the skills of expressing himself. Obviously, we went over the dancing. Oh my gosh. It's a very young Ian. Said that he loved to dance and would sneak out of the house at night to dance alone. One day, his mom followed him and found out what he was up to. Showing his skills. I've never seen any of his YouTube videos. Well, now you are. As we all are. This is so wonderfully 2008. Not HD at all. Oh, what a time. What a time. What a time. He eventually left to Korea to pursue it. No mention of becoming a K-pop group member, according to his response in an interview. C-Clown and the K-pop debut. 6-member boy band debuted in 2012. Wow, the company was even listed on the Korean Stock Exchange. 2001. Sold out their 2,000-seat concert in Japan, and that they even hit number 4 in an Asian pop chart in Bolivia. Articles and interviews acknowledged that they hadn't quite hit their peak in Korea itself. The group was perhaps particularly hard hit by the sudden death of the CEO, obviously. Ian also expressed how hard it was being an idol group member under the so-called slave contracts and how hard it was to get out of it. Oh yeah, they probably own you for life. These reasons likely contributed to the group disbanding in 2015. Helped him gain clarity being in a K-pop group. Propelled him to experiment with different creative skills that he's known for now. DPR, according to the website Dream Perfect Regime, DPR is an independent multi-genre music and video group. Crew members DPR Cream, DPR Reem or Rem, DPR Klein, and others that support the team. But here, I want to focus on DPR Ian and DPR Live's relationship seems to have culminated in the DPR gang. All the way from Guam, Live had seen Ian's YouTube channel, as we just saw, and sent him a direct message back when Ian was on Australia. Ian said Live was just another person who had reached out showing interest in his dance videos. I'm sure he got the email. He's like, oh, great, another one. The two only connected after both of them came to Korea not long after. Ian had seen a clip from Live and reached out, giving his number right away to a complete stranger. Once they met, though, they became really close, sharing songs and ideas, and from what it sounds like, dreaming together of one day producing something spectacular. He was still very much in front of the camera as the leader of a K-pop dance group. When he started DPR, though, he flipped things around and chose to take his place behind the camera. Took on the roles of director and editor of the team's videos. Brand collaborations with Nike, Adidas, and Adobe. Very cool. Mito stands for Mood Swings in This Order. It's the name of his album, but also the name of another identity he assumed for the project. As the artist himself explains, Mito is a darker version of himself, a character that was born of his experience with bipolar disorder. Each of the 8 tracks shows a different side of Mito. Starting with an entrance music for a character. What I like about this album is it really draws you into this universe in what I would describe as a very multi-dimensional way. Very cool. Very cool. I like that he incorporated it, you know? That's one way to own it, as they say. Obviously, he did the Shang-Chi soundtrack. Very cool. Very, very neat. DPR Ian opens up about inhumane experience as a K-pop trainee. You don't know what that gruesome and grueling side of that life is because no one really tells you. Training schedule back in the days, very strict. Wake up every morning at 5, as we heard, only to return home hours past midnight. If you're late a minute, they have you kneel on the floor and sit in the corner like a timeout. That's crazy. It's a lot better now. That's what I hear. Went on to share his thoughts on the experience. I thought it was inhumane. For that's literally the life that trainees live. You don't know what the gruesome and grueling side of that is because no one really tells you. Of course, it's probably an NDA. This article must have been done before he announced his DID. Yeah, probably. Probably. Let's see. Does it have a date on here? June 2023? Well, it was updated a little. June 2023. I don't know when it was originally published. When was this written? 2024. Got it. I was like, wait, I thought he already did that there in December. It's from 2024. Very interesting. We do have some more articles coming our way with the second video, of course. So we'll go ahead and hit those up after this next one. I like the fact that he's very open about it. It's really lovely. You don't really get that much. You don't really see a lot of artists opening up that much to people. So whenever it does, you're just kind of like, you know. It seems cliche, what I'm about to say, because, you know, it's just kind of a duh thing for a lot of people. But there are a lot of people out there that don't understand, surprisingly, that just because they're, I don't know, famous or wealthy or whatever, they have the same, if not similar, issues that all of us have. Whether it's mental health issues or, you know, trauma issues, past issues like childhood issues. It doesn't matter where you come from or what you do. You cannot escape life. Whether it happens to you or you do it to yourself. Literally. You cannot escape life. You will deal with things that are awful. You'll deal with a lot of great things as well. And you look forward to those things. And you hope you get more of those things. But you will always, always, always have to deal with bad things. So it's kind of amazing that people are like shocked to learn that, oh my gosh, this person's wealthy and a celebrity. Like their life must be perfect. Like, no. There's a lot of things that people have to go through and, you know, are tasked with, if you will. Like it is brutal out there. Absolutely brutal. What's that old saying? Don't judge a book by its cover, or, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it kind of thing. Like, we're all kind of going through it. We're all going through it, whether you show it or not. Some people wear it on their sleeve. Some people don't. So you never quite know what people are going through. His live streams are amazing. Really explains a lot about his disorders and some things about his other alters. Cool. Like that. Appreciate the openness. That's awesome. Let's go ahead and move into the next one, and then we'll circle back to DPR Ian. This is Xiao Si, or Xiao Xi, maybe, and Wu Xian, Lost in Your Love. Editor said, I loved this drama. This is The Blood of Youth, by the way. I love this drama. Every character was likable, and the fight scenes were great. Had to check a few times to make sure it wasn't from a BL novel, because the chemistry was on point. My video summarizes the evolution of their relationship. I didn't see a lot of works about these two, although I find they have great potential for a ship. The actors did a great job. Well, there you go. The Blood of Youth. Let's check it out. Great title. Excellent title. I'm somehow cutting off the closed captioning, so give me a second. I will readjust. There we go. That should be good. Perfect. All right, now you can see it. We'll bring it back, and then we'll start.
知道你是。什么时候来的？
今天这里没有天外天的少宗主，也没有什么消除河，我只是寒水寺的无心。来了。不行，真的。肖老板，
你早就知道我会来。吴昕啊，怎么每次我接盘的时候你都会
Trying to look past the editing because the editing is making this look 8K. Like it's so sharp and the colors are popping so much. Oh my gosh. They do have great coloring. It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then what's funny is I would watch these and I would go, wow. And then I would finally see like a legitimate scene of it. And I'm just like, wait a minute, what? Like, the kind of funny part is you can make edits look however you want, right? That's the beauty of it. You can kind of be creative and whatnot. And then when you see the actual product, for someone who hasn't seen it, it's like pulling a Band-Aid off and you're like, oh. I remember so many edits making this one show look super serious and beautiful and amazing. And then I finally saw the show and it was like boing, 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 and like bunch of like sound effects. And it was totally unserious. It was much more of a comedy with some heartfelt moments and maybe some action thrown in. And I'm just... Yes, it was The Untamed. Yes. I was having so much trouble trying to recall that name. I was like, I came up with another name and I'm like, that's not it. Yes, it was The Untamed. Oh my gosh. So many of the original edits I was seeing of that show were so serious. Like death-defying, serious, heartbreak, just all that stuff. And I finally saw a couple scenes of it. And all of a sudden, it was just totally unserious. Just completely floored by the tone of the show. I was like, whoa, I totally misread this. Great, but unserious at times. Yeah, very true. Very, very true. I will not say it's not great, but boy, the unseriousness caught me off guard.
会出现。你受伤了？
是啊，主要是来看你的。
满嘴话，或许我能帮你。
果然，肖老板是心疼无心。期待我们再相逢的那天。
不信，不信，你怎么变成这样？不信，不信，不信，听得到我说话吗？我是萧策。
你们之间情谊很深。
是，把这个吃了就好了。
Oh my gosh.
我教你的是心。不信。至于我教你的，我希望你永远会用。
我早就忘了。不信，
This is so badass. Oh my god.
这回我可真的要走了。走了。说好了，一起去看那昆仑之巅。
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Dang. That was a stunningly well executed edit. Beautiful. What a beautiful set. I love this. It looks good. Obviously, I'm trying to parse away the 8K resolution and the color popping and the saturation. Trying to get through all that. And it looks good. Looks very good. The costumes are great. The action looks good. I do agree with the editor. Kind of fascinating storyline here. I'm a little confused, but hey, I'm supposed to be. We'll find out. We'll find out what we need to know very soon. Link down below in the YouTube video description for the original video. Go throw it some much deserved love. Wow. Well played. Well played. Dang. I don't think I've ever reacted to that show before, and it looks great. Really good. Let's pull up some information of The Blood of Youth. In an unsurprising fashion, 8.8 on MDL. Not surprising. There's the poster, if you will. Lei Wuji, I believe, a young disciple eager to prove himself, aren't they all, travels to Zhuyi in hopes of becoming a true hero. His journey takes an unexpected turn when he damages the struggling Villa of Fallen Snow, run by the reluctant innkeeper, Xiaoxi. To make amends, Wuji invites Xiaoxi to join him on the road. Together they encounter allies and are drawn into a much larger adventure involving danger, hidden identities, and a long-buried battle for the throne. As secrets unravel, one of them must decide whether to embrace a destiny greater than they ever imagined. That sounds epic. That sounds epic as heck. Apparently there's a season 2. That's great. Spectacular. Sword in hand, righteous in heart. That's a beautiful tagline. All right, let's see if we can find, as I always try to do on MDL, I always try to find something kind of middle of the road. Because those are typically the ones where I can see like, oh, they weren't like super fans, but they also didn't hate it. Like it was very, they could probably find some faults, but they also could find a lot of things they loved. Constant barrage of new characters. I like this show, but it was a bit difficult for me to follow at first. It was a bit confusing. There's constantly new characters coming in. Like almost every single episode, there's someone new. Well, I mean, that's kind of par for the course in the first couple episodes. Like you're literally meeting people for the first time. So I get it, but also I don't. What a way to end 2022. Oh my gosh. I can't believe we just ended 2025. It's crazy. Watching it's like running a marathon. The first half of the show is very fun and interesting. However, the second half becomes too political and loses the adventurous charm. Interesting. This show had all the right ingredients, but the time constraint eventually crippled it. What does that mean? After binging this show in 2 days, I'm very much torn. Do I recommend watching it? Yes, definitely. However, there's a lot of story needed to be crammed into 40 episodes. What could have been an exceptional show instead only became a good show. I want to note that I've never read the novel that this was adapted from, so I can't compare. The entire time I was watching, I felt like I got a rough sketch instead of the final draft. Weakest part of the entire show for me was how the relationships were first developed, both platonic and romantic. Story writing doesn't do a good job of conveying pacing, how these bonds formed. Also felt like one moment they're strangers, the next they die for each other. Hey, you know what? That happens. That happens sometimes. It's true. Unfortunately, since the entire show centers around these bonds, it was difficult for me to fully invest myself into the story. Because of that, emotional moments were hit or miss. It's not to say I didn't like the show. The actors really did the best they can with what they were given, and some shining moments redeem the flaw I mentioned above. Like I said earlier, I'd definitely recommend giving the show a watch. It has all the elements I love to see in wuxia, and despite its short length, the plot was surprisingly well paced. When I finished, I found myself missing the characters. It's just a pity that more time wasn't given to flesh everything out. So this is someone who really enjoyed the show, but they were just disappointed that it wasn't flushed out enough, aka more episodes of the show. I get that. Totally get it. I could see this being a pretty dead-on review. Like, it seems like they absolutely loved it, but they just wish it was longer, which I'm sure we've had that many a times with shows. Obviously, if your show was canceled early, you definitely know what that feels like. But of youth characters. Oh my gosh, that zoomed in so much. Let's see if we can get there slowly. All right, there we go. Bailey's sixth prince, shall say. 4 years ago, expelled by the emperor for pleading. Oh, for a treason case. Got it. Upon leaving the capital, he was ambushed and injured. And black-cloaked villain destroyed his hidden veins. What does that mean? He can no longer use martial arts skills. Oh, boy. He resides at the Villa of Fallen Snow until he meets Lei and decides to follow him to Shuyi City, marking his path back to the martial arts world. Needed the saving, I guess. Disciple of sect laymen. Oh, we're talking about Lei. On his way to Shuyi City to study martial arts and meets Xiao Sei at the Villa of Fallen Snow, which we literally just said. After damaging Xiao Sei's inn, he agrees to bring Xiao Sei along his journey to pay him back. On their way, they encounter Wu Xin. The Sun Demon Sect leader, an apprentice of Master Wang Yu. At age 5, his father failed to invade Bai Li and died. He agreed to remain in Bai Li as a hostage for 12 years. Oh boy. Master Wang sheltered Wu Xin in Hanshan Temple. At the end of the 12 years, Master Wang Yu died, and Wu Xin was sealed inside the gold coffin. Oh my gosh, brutal. That is... yikes. Bai Li, one of the 5 sword deities, left city to seek memory loss potion. Skills, making wine. Hello. That's a good skill to have. Martial arts phase, unbeatable phase of Arcana. Weapons, fists, and everything else. Li Han, she's extremely beautiful, but usually wears a mask to change her voice while traveling the world. And after taking off the mask, she restores her original voice. And her beauty, apparently. She appears cold and arrogant, not good at communication, and obsessed with swordsmanship, but she's actually a caring and sentimental individual once you get to know her. once you share a little wine with her. Sword skills, Moonlit Flower Dawn. Astonishing Thunder. Ooh. Number 3 of the top 10 ranked swords. Blood of Youth review. Oh boy, where's this going? How's this going to go? We'll see. Welcome to a world where people can cast magic from their hands and cause lightning to fall from the sky at their enemies. Now that would come in handy, wouldn't it? The Blood of Youth is a fantasy-ish wuxia genre where men and women can attain superhuman powers through cultivation. I was initially reluctant to watch it because it reminded me more of a video game than a wuxia. I was only coaxed into watching it after several reviewers raved about how good it was. So I decided to give it a try. I told myself to try just 1 or 2 episodes. I always say give it, depending on the length of the show. If it's only 8 episodes, give it 2, max. If it's 40 episodes, give it at least 6. I think with 6, you not only get the characters, you get some of the plot, you get some of the backstory, you get kind of a gist of like where the show's going. Just a little bit, maybe. So it's enough of it to see like, oh, I'm really not into this. And it's not too short where you're just like, I gave it 1 episode. I gave it 30 minutes. I'm over it. And you have no idea what the rest of the show is like. At least with 6, I feel like you get a pretty good tasting of what you're in for. I was initially reluctant, ended up binging through it. Wow. Because I could just not stop watching. It ended up being one of my favorite dramas of 2023. Cool. It was based on a novel called Great Journey of Teenagers. The story damages the inn, demands payment, can only take him along for an uncertain adventure to get said money. The duo meets several heroes on their adventure, heroes of great renown. That must be all the characters, all the characters coming out of the woodwork that the other review was talking about. Some with shady motives, of course, some with hearts of gold. They end up having to deal with a conspiracy around a battle for the throne over a decade ago. Can their brotherhood survive? Characters: eager but not too bright disciple. That's funny. Mysterious innkeeper. Yeah, right. A monk with bounty on his head. Senior member of the Tang sect. Daughter of the spear deity. Daughter of a legendary general. Okay. What I like about the show. There's something weirdly addictive about the show. I usually hate video game wuxia with the flying, sparkling kung fu, like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon kind of stuff. But the characters are compelling. Doesn't hurt that Xiaoxi is so pretty. Hello. Pretty. Woo. One thing I like about the Blood of the Youth is that no matter how powerful Xiaoxi, Wuxian, and Wuji are, they still behave like young men who are impetuous and, yes, childish. Hey, you know what? Childish sometimes is necessary. This makes for really funny moments between the trio, especially between Xiaoxi and Wuji. I thought this image below demonstrates their dynamics perfectly. There you go. This is that look of, why do I have to deal with this? And this is that look of, oh gosh, get me out of here. And this is that look of, hey guys, look at me. One thing the show made me realize of how much I missed classic wuxia dramas. So many C-dramas these days revolve around romance. Like love between fairy and devil. I miss heroic adventuring around the Zhang Hu stories. There are precious few of them these days, so much so that after I finished watching the show, I was bereft. Ooh, good word. Good word. Word of the day, bereft. Because I thought the next wuxia would be a long time coming. I was wrong. Mysterious Lotus Casebook. 2023 turned out to be a good year for wuxia dramas. A Journey to Love, Ingenious One among them. While most C-dramas lose my interest after the 20th episode, not this one. The Blood of Youth was tightly plotted. Characters so interesting. Although the magic martial arts took some getting used to, this was a classic tale. So you have the themes of brotherhood, loyalty, chivalry, honor that the genre is known for. Storytellers were brilliant, ramping up suspense and seemingly innocuous events to great heights. For one, who knew a banquet could be such a suspenseful, intense affair? And when the curtains finally parted and the truth of the banquet is finally revealed, you feel a whoosh of emotion at what it signifies. Now that's a fine piece of storytelling right there. When the show ended, I had a hangover because it ended too soon, like that one other reviewer said there wasn't enough. I didn't think I could watch anything this good in a long while. But then I found Mysterious Lotus Casebook and all is well. What I didn't like: the fighting scenes are the typical finger foo so in vogue with Janjia dramas. A little twirl of the hand, some sparkly bits whirl about, and then a character will exclaim the name of said move and remark how amazing it is. So it's like Mortal Kombat. I know this is extremely typical for the genre, but it gets my goat each time it happens. It takes me out of the moment. But other than that, I have very little to complain about. Thoughts about the ending? Ooh, do we read it? I mean, it is a couple of years old. The ending is one of the most satisfying of the genre. Our friends are together, happy, adventuring, and people got the ends they deserved. Though I felt the villain got an easy way out. Well, that's good. Sounds like a pretty happy ending. Give it 4 out of 5 stars. Not bad. I've been watching C-dramas since I was a kid. Well, this person definitely knows what they're talking about. Anyway, the news of Season 2, I'm really looking forward to one day seeing everyone again and pray that Season 2 will be just as good, if not better. The Blood of Youth to have a second season. It was revealed that the series will be in production in February next year, which was 2024. News was shared by a production studio saying the drama will officially enter pre-production or preparation stage in 2024, while 3 film series will also be developed simultaneously. Good grief. That's a lot going on. In addition to the original 4 nights, the new chapter of the story will also introduce more new characters and forces, adding more suspense and tension to the plot. These new characters will have their own unique backgrounds and stories, which are closer related to the main plot, connected... Boy, what's going on with my brain? Connected, bringing a richer and more diverse visual and emotional experience to the audience, shared the creative team. Very interesting. Awesome. Very cool. That was a great edit. Really cool edit. I like the music. I like the style. Seems like most people enjoyed it. I mean, 8.8 out of 10 is very good, right? It's very good. And the reviews we checked out, I mean, a lot of the negative ones that I've been looking at have been just either little nitpicks or I wish there was more. Which, is that a criticism? Yeah, I guess. But it's not a huge one. Yeah. Pretty much I'm literally looking through some more pages to see if I could find anything egregious. And I'm not finding it. Okay, this other one is very similar to the other one. Too many unnecessary characters. Story and acting is good, but the introduction of the crazy numbers of random characters and sex are all thrown in at once. Crazy number of characters then lead to lots of fighting scenes. These fighting scenes were actually very good if taken individually, but often thrown together without any good reasons. The plot is good, but there really is just far too many random introductions of characters. Well, there you go. Are they talking about the heroes? Because that seems like a pretty important plot point to the journey. But yeah, that's very interesting. I'd say that's pretty dang good. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is DPR Ian. Like I said, we're going back. Explains his state. All right. Go ahead and move this back. There we go. There we go. This must be one of the Instagram lives. Looks like it.
So anyway, so how many sides do I actually have? Let me give you like a good idea. So you have the high, the insanity, the overall, what you might think ruler, but is in fact maybe the person that really runs the train. But then you have the version of yourself where you're manic low, or the person that deals with your certain traumas and experiences. So you have the guardians. These two are kind of what I think. And in between, you have you. But now, I'll give you something that really might pick your brains. What happens if you shatter? So what happens if me, for example, oh, smack. Just get shit out of me. Laurie, we talked about this, Laurie, didn't we? Laurie, didn't we talk about this? Me and Laurie had conversations about this. So what happens if I am healthy, the healthiest I've ever been? So is my disorders.
Literally.
So is my disorders. Funny enough, yes.
Literally, is there a dog? There's literally a dog outside that's just barking up a storm. I don't know. I probably can't hear him, but oh my gosh. So as his dog went off, that dog is going off.
If I am healthy, the healthiest I've ever been, so is my disorders. So is my disorders. Funny enough, yes. If the more healthy I am, I learned to understand that my disorders, especially with bipolar and DID, I've learned to understand that they also become healthy.
No worries.
So meaning, yes, there might not be complete splits, but you still manage to somewhat find a way to split, and you find a way to go up and down. So ignore the idea of like, okay, I'm gonna try fixing my switch. No, it's learning to coexist with it, honey. It's learning to coexist and balance it out through your daily routines. And you have to understand it's a lifelong, almost to death, experience that you are going to have to understand and accept and learn to take. So then what happens if, let's say, the core me is being shattered, whether that be through stress, whether that be through physical endurance, and obviously mental endurance, fatigue. So what happens then if the version of me starts shattering, just the core me, I'm not even talking about my lows and dips. What happens if the core me starts shattering, and then I go into my manic highs as a shattered piece? Then your manic high also becomes a shattered piece, right? So then your shattered pieces, God knows how many there is, but you start shattering. So your kind of your split personalities will then split again. And I know this sounds really crazy, but
no, it just sounds really confusing. Like I am trying to keep up with it, but I'm also like, what? Like it is difficult. It is very difficult to understand, but I'm trying my best.
There was a moment in time where Mito split it off into 3 more characters during my...
How would you ever keep this straight? Like, oh my gosh.
Last year. And I remember it was being one of the most scariest and to this date, most...
It's pretty impressive he's able to like vocalize this.
It's kind of like...
put it into words.
I didn't know how many times I was switching. So my switches and cycles would happen about every 30 minutes. And I'll go here and I'll make my decision, and I'll come back and I'll be talking differently, and then I'll walk back and I'll be like, oh, I remember that I was going to go buy this, and I'll come back, and then I'll come back in the middle of it and I'll be like, where am I? So all I remember are fragments of steel cuts, if you think about it. So that's why, for example, ow. Say hi, Laurie. We're just talking about this. Or do you have any split personalities? No, not that I'm aware of. And funny thing is, Laurie knows when I switch, so her demeanor changes too. It's pretty hard. So I realized if you're not physically and mentally good, for people that have DID, that can mean a big deal to your other identities as well, because not only is the present state the state that really does safeguard and hold the core you weakened, but when I don't know if this is a thing that happens to only people that have DID and bipolar type 1, but I'm just speaking for myself personally. But I've tend to realize that when I start splitting when I'm at a very bad state, just my general state is bad, it becomes very dangerous. That's when Mido becomes dangerous, because Mido starts, imagine you have a spawn of darkness, right? But then he spawns more darkness, and they're just like a version of him. So you have the 100%, that's why I bring up the idea of like Mido, you have the 100% core Mido. So he's made up of fury, rage, love is also a part of it, betrayal, and a lot of different emotions that muster up the experiences from trauma. Hence it's why it's your guardian. But the only problem is they have a mind of their own, which is why you black out for the most part. So, but then what happens if Mido starts splitting? So then when are you ever going to return to your throne? And I call it the throne, meaning the seat of power. So who's at the front conscious core? So Mido, when he splits, you imagine what kind of split that would look like. It's very nasty, and it's something that I've never been so afraid of in my entire life when I saw that, because I don't remember most of it, but it was something that I've never ever.
That's the scariest part.
Well, okay. Since I've been through it, I was like, okay, I'm never.
I could see multiple scary parts here, right? Scary part is you would feel like you're not in control, right? You're not the pilot. You're just kind of along for the ride. And the second scary part is you're blacking out while this is happening. Like, that is terrifying. Like, it's even worse than being the passenger. Like you're the passenger and you're not even remembering being the passenger. Like, that is unbelievable.
To a point like this, because of how dangerous and how scary this can be, because you're literally splitting your dark altar into another version of a dark altar, and that could only mean you're enhancing.
Oh, really?
Character.
Interesting.
And remember, we had a name for the character that was relatively dangerous for my splits, and I'm not going to mention the name of this character that Mido split into, but it was to the point where even Mido couldn't come out and save me from that character. Well, very came close to not being able to save me from that character in real life. But yes, maybe is this character part of the lore maybe in the future? Maybe, but it was, I think, one of the most scariest things I've ever seen in my life. And what I mean by seeing is during that period of time, it was just hallucinations, and that hallucinations of that character was rather real, and Mido even became dormant to that character.
Whoa.
Which means it must have been way more than what he could have handled. And to even see that, to even be in a position where even the character, the alt ego that knows how to take a lot of that trauma and turn it into something else, not even be able to come out into the sea, must have meant that character really, really had something very powerful. Luckily, however, there's something called an emergency kick where when everything starts shutting down, so all my traits and personality start shutting down, I have an emergency kick, and it's only ever happened twice. So it's kind of like a natural instinct for something inside of you to come out it's like a survival instinct. So when you know you're in life-threatening scenario, it's like you summon your last ultimate fighter, I guess you can say. It's like your body and your mind and your consciousness going into a complete survival.
I always liken that survival instincts in humans to the Terminator. Have you ever seen those movies? The Terminator can't terminate himself, basically. And it very much feels like that uneasy feeling you get when you get towards like a large cliff or anything like that, or you're high up, or you're in kind of a precarious situation. Your body's just like, I don't like this. It almost feels kind of like that.
Instinct mode. And I think during that time, that's when Insanity came out. So insanity, and what I mean by insanity is I mean the true insanity. So that's the insanity that I black out in. And it's just so imagine the extreme highs. That's the epitome of insanity. And your extreme lows, 100%. 얼굴 좀 해? 고마워. And imagine the extreme lows of your manics. So that's minor. Right? So that is minor. So you could only sometimes be 60-50%. You could only have like some essence of insanity, but you'll never be completely that. I've been completely minor a couple of times, but that's the times where you black out. You still glitch here and there, but there's only twice I've ever been the extreme version of insanity. There has ever been only 2 moments in my life. No, sorry, 3. Can't believe it. 3 moments in my life that I've ever been true insanity. And that's when shit hit the roof. Now, what's dangerous about being these extreme versions of either end? So, for example, insanity would have to only kick in that very moment when it's a life or death situation. And I think it's in those moments that I've learned to develop an understanding with a side of me that doesn't want to fall into a complete destructive self of who I am. And I think that's when insanity kicks in. And I think the version of that is the hard thing about that is you're not going to be able to sleep. So your body is automatically, naturally shutting down. And that's not a really good thing, because if you go more than 4 to 5 days and you say you've been up for more than 4 days and you're further enhancing 3 more days to not sleep, your body will automatically shut down just because of health reasons. So that's the risk that you take on by bringing out a certain character. That
I gotta say, bodies are pretty cool. They can be pretty brutal at times, but there's a lot of cool features that we haven't really quite figured out with bodies. It's very strange.
That has to go overdrive with your mind, but it's worth taking the seat of power.
The brain is such a unbelievable
otherwise,
thing.
It doesn't have.
Which sounds like a ridiculous statement to make, but it's true. It is an unbelievable thing. And the fact that we still don't understand all of it is
that is
nuts.
the story and the inspiration behind the law. For further, go watch So I Danced again. Go watch the whole law. I'm so excited to really show you guys what this whole series is going to be about and how it's really going to take shape and form. And once you guys realize that everything is all intertwined and connected, and it's all based on real situations. No, a real concept. You guys will get a big kick out of this. And trust me, we have so many people on board on our team that are non-stop working for this vision. And like I said, it's almost a 10-20 year ongoing plan, I think, project. 10 to say the most, because who knows where I'm going to be then, but 10 years, give or take, get them into the law, get them into this whole story, and it's as real as day. I can honestly say that. So yeah, my comments have stopped working. I think it's because it's time for me to go now. But I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm super grateful. I can't believe we're already at the views that we are at with our videos. And you know, guys, just keep spreading it. Keep enjoying it, more importantly, because I love to see the comments where people are, you know, have all these theories, and I love seeing your theories because honestly, half of them are on the right path. I'll say on the right path because there's so many things that we haven't discovered yet that I can't wait to unravel, but I'm gonna save that for another day. Just enjoy everything, every single thing we put out for you guys, because there's just so many people that work so hard for this on our team, and they are as passionate as ever because they just love seeing you guys get into it. And number two, we are going to have so many things that are going to be coming out related and not related to this, and we can't wait to further share that with our dreamers out there. So all in all, thank you so much for watching this live. I know it's a random time of the day. I know some people are gonna cuss at me because like I just kind of went on the most unexpected time of the day, and some people are at work right now. But I just wanted to say, if anyone wants to clip certain moments and certain things that I said about my disorders or in regards to the universe, and if someone could make a tight edit of that, I'll be more than happy to spread that around. But yeah, thank you guys, and I love you all so much. You are such a big part of the universe. By the way, the other side, the citizens, they are called dreamers. Yep. So we based it off of you guys, and yeah, again, welcome back. And yeah, on to the next. So I have to go back to editing now. We are working on some new stuff, but super excited. And like I said, guys,
he almost spilled the beans.
Enjoy it. We can't believe we're almost at the views that we are at. Love you guys to death. Our whole team loves you to death. And yeah, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Our DPR talk, anyway. All right. Peace.
Seems like a really good dude. Definitely seems like a really good dude. That's really brave to come out and, you know, put that out to the world and talk about it and discuss it and try to teach people more about it. And I'm not going to lie, I was a little confused. And that's just because, who knows? Maybe I'm just not with it today. It's a really great video, 30 minutes about DID, explaining it by Anthony Padilla. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and link down below in the YouTube video description for the original video. Go throw out some much deserved love. I don't know why I stumbled on that word. All right. I did pull up some information. Just get kind of like a medical take on it. No, I do not want to update right now. Are you kidding me? That'd be terrible. Why would I update right now? That is a terrible timing. But dissociative identity disorder, multiple personality disorder, aka, is a mental health condition where you have two or more separate personalities that control your behavior at different times. When personalities switch, you'll have gaps in your memory, which is what he was talking about. That's interesting. The identities are usually caused by living through trauma. Psychotherapy can help you manage your symptoms. Yeah, gaps in the memory. That is terrifying. I don't know if you've ever had that before. Some of us get that through imbibing a little too much, maybe. But I've definitely had that before, and it is odd. Because you're just like, wait, I was functioning, but I don't remember it. That's crazy. That's really weird. But yeah, this would be terrifying. I don't know how I would handle this, honestly. And it probably takes a lot of help, certainly. person could be co-conscious with one or more of the alters too. Oh my God. Co-conscious? Oh, it keeps getting scarier. Oh, that's brutal. Formerly known as multiple personality disorder. And split personality disorder. I've definitely heard of multiple personality disorder. Dissociative identity disorder is new for me, I guess, because I've definitely heard of the other one. Mental health condition where you have two or more separate identities. Disassociate, means to separate or disconnect. People will disassociate identity disorder. May experience several different personalities, usually referred to as alters. Each identity may have different behaviors, memories, thought patterns, or expressions. The identities might have different ethnicities and ways of interacting with their environments. That's interesting. Different ethnicities, too. These personalities may control your behavior at different times. Memories may not transfer from one to another, which can cause amnesia, aka gaps in memory, like blacking out. The presence of amnesia is often an important symptom that raises concern for the diagnosis. Interferes with your body ability to function in your day-to-day. It can impact your relationships, obviously, with others and performance at school or work, obviously. Wow. That would be terrifying. I'm just kind of putting myself in that situation, and first thing I think of is horrifying, like scary. Not being in control, blacking out, amnesia from time to time, and you have no idea when it's going to happen. Like that is, that's anxiety inducing is what that is. Two types of DID. Possession. Identities present as if an outside being or spirit took control of your body. You might speak or act differently in a way that's obvious to others. It's an unwanted identity, and the personality switch is involuntary. And we have non-possession. Identities are less known to others. You might feel a sudden change in your self-identification as if you're watching yourself in a movie. Out-of-body experience. Kind of like that scene from, I don't know if you remember this, but that scene from Get Out where he's falling into the blackness of a television and the other person's watching from the other side of the glass, and he's just falling into just nothingness. That's kind of what it would feel like. Instead of being in control of your speech, emotions, or behaviors. That's terrifying as well. That kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you've ever gone through this. Oh gosh, what is it called? Sleep paralysis, where you just kind of, you open your eyes, usually. You're awake, but your body's not ready to move. So you're awake and alive, and then you cannot move anything. Like it feels like you're trapped in your own body, basically. I experienced it once. It was horrific. I never want to experience it again. I think what happened and what caused that was I was asleep, right? And you have to be in REM sleep, I think. And I was jolted awake by something. I was in a dorm room at a university, and maybe it was like a loud noise or something. Who knows? But I think I remember hearing a noise. And then I just woke up, and I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. All I could literally get out was like a groan because I couldn't move my mouth. I couldn't say anything. I couldn't move my fingers, my feet, nothing. Legs, nothing moved. That was absolutely terrifying for, I don't know, it seemed like forever, but it was probably more like 30 seconds. But boy, whew. It's not common, not surprising. One small U.S. study found that it affects an estimated 1.5% of people in the U.S. That's still a lot of people, by the way. That's still an insane amount of people. If we're looking at it, in the U.S., that's still 5.2 million people. if my rough math is correct. It's still 5.2 million people with DID. So there you go. A little bit of a medical jaunt into it. DPR Ian's Dear Insanity chooses the unpredictable path. Second EP, Dear Insanity, sees the Australian singer venturing into a heady, video game-esque side quest, expansion of his character-based lore, and exploration of mental illness. Insanity shows Ian's limitless creative possibilities. This is 2 years ago, by the way. Spent my nights in melting snow, turning my sorrows into pure gold. More than a melancholic title, Ian knows the struggles of sorrow firsthand. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder as a teenager, has since built a career that contextualizes and transmutes his struggles. Representing his manic lows, he developed the character of Mito, one-eyed fallen angel with a hoarse voice, always surrounded by thunders. For his manic highs, there's Mr. Insanity, the colorful, cheeky opposing force, never knowing where he's going. Through them, Ian gives shape to his own Marvel Cinematic Universe, telling superhero villain stories of birth and death, glitter and dust. Interview with Grammy.com. Let's see here. It's been 15 months since the release of your first studio album, Mood Swings into Order. When did the idea of making Dear Insanity come up? I have the original story, Mito, that's based on the manic lows I get, but I've never had a character that I based on my manic highs. A lot of times when I feel manically high, I disassociate myself with who I am because of how radical and crazy I get with ideas. It just feels so different as to when I'm just like me, like now, like just very lukewarm. When I'm in my manic highs, I'm more active. I come up with more ideas. A lot of the ideas I come up with for Mito were in that state. In Mood Swings into Order, I have a song called Mr. Insanity, so it's kind of started from there. I think a good example is Batman and the Joker. You get a further understanding of Batman through the Joker. That's true. You realize what Batman's capable of feeling, and you see it in different perspectives, but it's only through the buildup of the relationship. What did Heath Ledger say? I need you, basically, and you need me. Leave it up to the audience to take that pick of which one may be the villain and which one's the superhero. So that's kind of what I wanted to do with this EP. He's unpredictable. Yes, that is the word. And because of that unpredictability, you don't know where the story is going to end up. It's such a crucial part to the Mito lore because it introduces the concept of where this lore is in context. I remember watching the musical Cats, and it was just people in cat costumes, but playing the role of a cat so undeniably well that as a kid watching it, it shocked me. Just the visual stimulus of being exposed to so many things that sparked my creativity. I think it was such a blessing. Watched a lot of Steven Spielberg films too. And then, of course, you have Tim Burton, which is just a crazy twist. It's so compelling, but so artsy at the same time, you can't look away from it. Another huge thing is that the amount of people who have it is very likely a higher amount. The idea is supposed to protect you, so you're not supposed to know that you have alters. That's the point. Same percentage of people with ginger hair have DID. Interesting. Before he was ready to say he had DID in this article, he said that Mito and Insanity were just representatives of his bipolar manic highs, but now we know they're actual alters. Good to know. Wow. Very interesting. Do you sometimes feel imprisoned by your own characters? That's a great question. Truly believe that personifying a character has 100% influence in the way you think, in the way you are. I guess you could say there's pros and cons. I now know when I go manically low, sometimes I really think I'm Mito, trying to come out of that. I learned it the hard way is like, okay, so this is what he's capable of. It's such a challenging idea because when I make a song, for example, sometimes I feel like Mito would make it a lot better. Sometimes I want to channel him, so I'd have to wait until my next switch to complete it. Sometimes I come back and I'm like, what is this song? That's interesting. That is so interesting. He seems like a sweet person. I only seen him through his interactions with... Yeah. He does seem like a genuinely good person. You didn't write any songs to the tour? I did, but I didn't finish them. I was in process in the very beginning, and then the tour happened, and it got deeper and deeper and deeper. My mood kept changing constantly. It's funny, the songs that I wrote in the beginning felt a lot more bright, and then it progressively got darker. Oh. How long does it take you to edit one of these videos? Oh my gosh, that's a good question. So he did So I Danced, Don't Go Insane, and Peanut Butter and Tears. So 3 videos. We did all that in the span of 3 months, spaced it out, but I only had 2 weeks at max per video. Oh my gosh. 2 weeks? Yeah, there's no way. No way. That's pretty impressive. Oh my gosh. DPR Ian shocks fans with emotional posts about betrayal, debt, and mental struggles. I don't know how many of you keep up with DPR Ian, but some drama has been unfolding in the last couple days. This article covers Ian's call-out posts. I've seen some people refer to it as crashing out, but I don't care for that term, especially knowing Ian struggles with his mental health. So for further context, for those of you who don't know, all right, we kind of went over this. We'll skip through that. Okay. DPR REM, who is a co-founder of DPR, seems to have a lot of roles within the company. He oversees a lot of things, but he mainly seems to be in charge of the finances. He has been credited as a producer on a few songs, despite never actually producing anything. S show starts in January of 2024 when DPR Live filed a legal complaint against former DPR CEO, founding member Scott Kim, aka REM, as well as DPR and related entities, felt he wasn't being paid fairly, specifically from touring, and that Scott was withholding financial information from him. Devin dropped the lawsuit. No one is sure why he dropped it. Scott posts a very interesting apology. Now releasing music under his real name, Davin. And from my understanding, Scott left his roles in 23-24. Fast forward to now, October 2025, so a couple months ago. Ian posts a string of tweets basically calling out Scott, which I found a little bit funny. Oh, he was calling out a Stan account. Oh, which I found a little bit funny because if you follow DPR Ian, you know that man doesn't have a negative bone in his body, so for him to respond is pretty wild. Allegedly, DPR Ian hasn't been making much of a profit despite all the work he does for DPR. It seems that Scott registered DPR under his own name. Oh, gosh. Since trademarks have to be renewed every 5 years, Scott made a deal with Davin's team to sell the ownership of the brand, completely skipping over Ian. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Oh. What's up, Vipsy? Just made a Stranger Things edit on TikTok, wondering if you'd react to it. I would love to. All these videos are requested from members of ToddReacts.com. If you would like to become a member, I would be happy to react to your video. Absolutely. Thanks for joining. Oh my gosh, completely skipped over Ian. That's crazy. Now they're asking Ian to pay more royalties for use of the name. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would do it. That would do it. Oh my gosh. Which is why Ian is on X, and if you're part of his Instagram group chat, you'll see that he's not having the best time calling them out. Davin has recently responded in a series of tweets. Some fans are a little confused about it because it went from F. Scott to now F. Jeff. Jeff is the CEO of DPR's management company, Regime International. He's saying Jeff is the reason behind all this and that Scott isn't at fault at all. Anyway, this is all that I know. If anyone has more information, oh my God, that's crazy. That's so brutal. Wait, so... Oh, this is why they say don't go into partnerships. This kind of stuff gets messy. And apparently it's managed by some other DPR's management company. Who the heck is that? Regime International. That's crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong. So he basically went behind Ian's back and shut him out of his own company. Certainly seems that way. The whole thing with Scott is shady to me because he's already been sued for not getting paid. Then he's got producer credits for songs he didn't even produce, which gives him more money. Now learning that Ian is barely paid, Scott seems like a snake to me. Dang. Ian has a lot more control now. No wonder Ian is peeved. Yeah, I would definitely be. Sounds like another friendship is the only contract we need situation. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's brutal. Always get your stuff in writing. Yeah, absolutely. That's, oh, gosh. I almost feel like in these types of situations, if you're going to have like a group of people or you might bring on other people, I would sign it in my name totally and then give out positions, right? Always keep control. Always keep control. If you're going to hand out anything like shares or something like that, always maintain majority. Like, this is unfortunate. At this point, he needs to get a good lawyer and stay off social media. Agreed. Crazy. Update for anyone who's interested. Okay, let's see it. Didn't think it had to come to this, but please, Ian, Cream, Arctic, don't ever re-sign to that guy after y'all's contract's over. For real, that's my last love note to y'all. And I'll do whatever I can to return back all your DPR asset stuff ASAP. This is live. So you can sign people instead of being signed to people who cause more chaos and lies than order in your life. You could have always reached out, but I don't think anyone's heard from you in a long time. Definitely not Ian. Also, didn't seem like anyone knew you were dealing with Scott on the backside. Even if you had noble intentions, why does it take him to have to explode for you to talk? I love you, bro, but there's still a lot shouldn't and should have done. DPR Ian, aka Christian U, says, "Where's the evidence? These claims are so big that you know what it will do to me. You out of all should know this. For the most part, no one is saying anything to me. Absolutely no one, but I cannot run on words anymore. I cannot hold onto words anymore. Not anymore." Oh boy. That's brutal. Ian said he's made no money in the past decade. What? And the slave contract stopped him for years making music with his K-pop company? Oh my gosh. That is heartbreaking. Oh, that one's good. That's a good reply. That's pretty good. Wow. After this whole situation, he went live to explain it all. He switched for like a whole month and went pretty silent. Interesting. DPR Ian charts the curious comforts of relatability. We sat down with the Australian-born multi-hyphenate to discuss his new EP, Dear Insanity. Let's see. I've also made Peter Pan references from the movie Hook, which is a great movie. Oh, one of my favorite childhood movies. But the idea is you tend to forget a lot of things in your youth and you start to rediscover as you're older. As adults, we clutter our minds with things that stress you out. Absolutely. But DPR Ian's work is a reminder that our childhood interests stay with us. His mind is filled with so many ideas, especially as he's conversing with others. To add, he's a keen observer and looks around because he's inspired by the state he's in. I take everything in, and I never let a moment pass. He was Mito for this time. I think he shows who he is through moon emojis. Oh, got it. Thing is, they probably needed a third guy to help set the company up. Oh, like Laws in Korea are just like that. Oh my gosh. That's awful. That's too bad. That is just unneeded stress and drama. It's really unfortunate. Simple joys in life define DPR Ian. That's why I love traveling. Traveling allows me to be free-spirited. I like going to places that really feel that if I lose myself here, there's no turning back. If he's put in a similar setting or routine, it can become a hurdle to his creativity. Routine is sometimes the most dangerous thing to an artist. If you're constantly pushed trying to create something new, but you're following the same thing every day, there's nothing new going up in your mind. People translate their art through their experiences. That is very true. Very true. If you're just going through the motions, it's kind of hard to draw on anything. Like I think of like stand-up comedians and they have to actually like go out, experience life. Like you just can't sit in a blank room and come up with a bunch of jokes. Like you got to get out there and experience people, experience life, assuming. Thing is, they probably needed the third guy to help set up the company. That's so unfortunate. Ugh. I want to look that up. I want to look that up. I can't look it up. Everything that I'm looking up says foreign investors because I'm not in Korea. Oh, it's unfortunate. At one point, I think to set up a company, you have to have been a manager at a previous company. Really? Oh my gosh. They got to get rid of that. Dang. This year, DPR Ian had many blessings. He headlined Coachella's Gobi stage. Look at that. That's cool. I was looking at the rest of the people. I'm like, where's DPR Ian? Unveils the drumsticks that inspired his musical dreams. Shares the story behind his Ahead 5A drumsticks, the nostalgia piece of gear he discovered while watching Joey Jordison's Slipknot performance videos as a teenager. might have abandoned his drumming days, but that doesn't change the fact that it planted the roots for his artistry, which is why he still names his Ahead 5A drumsticks his favorite piece of musical gear. I remember my friend showing me a video on YouTube by Slipknot, Joey Jordison, whose birth name is Kristen Yu, recounts in the latest episode of It Goes to 11, that was the first time I got absolutely shook. Because of his hours of watching the band's videos, he could quickly recognize the tools they used on stage in any instrument shop. After convincing his mom to buy the same drumsticks, Yu drummed everywhere, including his car dashboard, which still has dents today. That's so funny. Eventually, it was time to perform on the drums live. Having never been out in front of an audience, the nerves were high. So high that he remembers he blacked out on stage as soon as the song started playing. It was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life because I froze. How old is this? How old is this article? It says it taught him a valuable lesson not to become a drummer, but also showed him that one negative experience shouldn't ruin his entire perspective on music. Greatest success is actually from a failure. You have to learn how to be bad at things. Amen. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. The first time I ever went live on Twitch, I was freaking out. Literally. I couldn't imagine it. Like, it took me months to build up the courage to not just pre-edit and pre-record and just upload those continuously forever and ever. I knew I had to do this because the editing time was just completely killing any sort of free time I ever had. I would literally record throughout the weekend, so I had no weekends. I would literally just stay home and in front of this. And then I would just edit every day after work. So I had no free time during the week. And then my weekends were just recording. So I was like, I got to do something else. So it took me months to build up the courage to finally go live with you all and be able to handle that. You know, it's one of those things where you're just like, oh, this should be easy. It's not that big a deal. And then you're about to hit go live and you're like, hi. Now after like 200 lives, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know why I freaked out like that. But it's one of those things. You learn by failures. That is 100% true. That first live was brutal. Brutal. I just remember being so scared. So absolutely scared. But I'm glad we got to go through a little bit of DPR Ian's backstory, how he's been dealing with it. Sad to hear about, company issues and, he said, she said kind of things of like, where's the money? Pay me my money. Who's got the coin purse, if you will. That is, that's unfortunate. That happens a lot. I remember hearing, because you might recognize this name, Dane Cook, comedian, huge in like 2005, 2006, 2007-ish eras. And he just disappeared completely for a couple of years. And basically what had happened is his brother, or something like brother, I think, was his manager or money manager or something like that, and literally embezzled millions of his dollars to the point where it is gone. And he had to, I think, sue his own brother or something like that. Like, brutal. Can you imagine? That would just rip your entire family life apart. Like, there's no coming back from that. Like, maybe on a deathbed, but that would just, oh my gosh. And so I remember hearing him tell that story, and it was like, that's where that guy went. That makes sense. That would absolutely derail pretty much everything. Like, oh my gosh. I can't even imagine. So yeah, anything around, especially if it's a passion project or something you love, something you put a lot of time into. Obviously, he's directing, he's editing, he's writing music. That's a lot of work. and a lot of effort to go through just to have somebody try to screw him out of it or not pay him what he's due. Oh my gosh. On top of that, with the DID and, you know, bipolar disorder and whatnot, like that is just, ugh. Can't help but feel terrible for the guy. Seems like a really good dude. Seems like a good person. But, oh my gosh. We did listen to what was that song called? Let me look up. Dang. What were we listening to? It was Don't Go Insane. It was this song.
My charms, I'll never be the same. We've came so far, only to go insane.
Clearly great music. Like that is really catchy. But yeah, terrible news about that. Hopefully it's been resolved or it's gotten better or whatnot. But yeah. Plan to recommend more videos on his music and directing. Absolutely. Looking forward to it. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the next one. It is the show called Foundation. Hari Seldon and the Empire Trial. I have no idea what this is going to be like. Then again, that's most videos I watch. I have no idea what it's about. Never heard of it, kind of thing. So this is one of those where I'm like, ooh, what do we got? What do we got? What are we getting? All right, let's go ahead and jump into this and see what we got. It's kind of a weird perspective. Like it's kind of like smaller. So you're seeing a little bit of the YouTube whatnot. No problem. Sleep well. Thanks for joining, of course, as always.
All rise. The tribunal of Cleon XII is convened.
Your Exalted. The offenders, Dr. Hari Seldon and Gail Dornick, are accused of crimes so grave that they threaten not just Trantor, but the entire galaxy's existence.
Ooh.
I will prove that Dr. Seldon and his followers engaged in a conspiracy designed to destroy the confidence in our empire. Dr. Seldon, will you rise? You hail from the world of Helicon, yes?
Yes.
Will you state your current position here on Trantor?
I'm a professor of probability theory at Streeling University, specifically the area of psychohistory.
Define that for us, please.
Psychohistory is a predictive model designed to forecast the behavior of very large populations.
In plain spoken terms, you claim to be able to predict the future.
Well, I don't know what you're going to have for dinner, if that's what you're asking.
You know what I'm asking. The Galactic Empire comprises some 8 trillion individuals. Would you say that was a large enough sample to make a prediction?
It is.
And do you have a prediction for that particular sample?
I do.
Oh, it's Lee Pace.
Indulge us.
Trantor and the Galactic Empire will lie in ruins within 5 centuries. Silence, brethren.
Accepting your statement for the moment, can you prove it's true?
Only to another mathematician conversant in ordinal analysis.
How convenient. Your truths are so esoteric, they escape the grasp of nearly every citizen.
They belong to science.
The Imperium is 12,000 years old, Doctor. Are we really to believe that it could be gone in just 500?
Maybe quicker.
Quicker?
A rotten tree trunk appears strong until the storm breaks it in two. Consider recent events in the Outer Reach.
We're not here to consider any other...
But you must! The Empire will fall. Order will vanish. Interstellar wars will be endless. 10,000 worlds reduced to radioactive cinders. Nothing we do can prevent this.
This period of barbarism, how long do you claim it will last?
30,000 years, Advocate.
Oh,
I submit
man.
to the court that Dr. Selden's predictions are actually intended to destroy public confidence.
I'm not a revolutionary.
Well, then what are you? You've already said the future cannot be changed, so what exactly is the purpose of your project?
I'm trying to soften the fall. It cannot be prevented. This mass of events rushing to meet us.
But it can be
We
mitigated.
can shorten the dark ages that follow.
How much? If we embrace your plan, how much?
We should be in the dark for 1,000 years, Advocate. And if that is all,
It's better than 30.
we should thank the gods for it.
Ooh. Ooh. Interesting. On trial for sedition regarding making false claims about the Empire's decline. Boy, imagine being on trial for speaking your mind. Good grief. That's brutal. That's kind of the, that's historical fact, right? All empires come to a close. Closing time. Link down below in the YouTube video description for the original video. Go throw out some much-deserved love. Literally all empires fall. That is a fact. It will always happen. There is nothing to stop it. So it's kind of funny for him to be on trial for saying that. It's kind of strange. Foundation TV series on Apple TV Plus, apparently. That's why I've never heard of it. Premiered in 2021 based on Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. Premise, based on the award-winning novels, of course, chronicles a band of exiles on their monumental journey to save humanity and rebuild civilization amid the fall of the Galactic Empire. 20 episodes so far, 2 seasons. Announced it in 2017. Interesting. We got Harry Seldon, who literally was on trial. Quote, "You came here hoping to save your world. I'm asking you to dream bigger. Why stop at one? Why not save the galaxy?" Eccentric mathematical genius develops psychohistory, an entirely new science that allows him to calculate the future with stunning accuracy. Predictions foresee the fall of the Galactic Empire within 500 years, followed by a period of barbarism that would plunge the galaxy into darkness for 30,000 years. Harry sets out to create a foundation to soften the fall and preserve science and civilization for future generations. He's portrayed by Jared Harris, which also is in Mad Men. That's where I know him from. Kind of crazy. Okay. So the Foundation is an organization that would seek to safeguard civilization and science by creating the Encyclopedia Galactica to preserve human knowledge and experiences. He hopes that his actions will reduce the Dark Ages to a mere 1,000 years before a new empire can arise. His predictions come to the attention of the Klingon emperors, who worry that Harry is a revolutionary and seeking to undermine faith in the empire. Knowing the Empire is watching, Harry begins planning with his associates. A mathematics contest is held to solve the Abraxas conjecture, to find someone with the same level of mathematical understanding as himself. Contest is won by Gal from Synax, who travels to Tranton to work with Harry. Harry becomes welcomes her to Trantor and then reveals they are due to be arrested the following day. No. At the tribunal, the Empire does exactly what Harry hopes. They try to debunk his findings by letting Gal, the only other person in the galaxy capable of understanding his equations, examine the prime radiant. However, she agrees with Harry's findings. As the Emperors decide Harry's fate, careful not to make him a martyr, a terrorist attack on Trantor's Star Bridge brings attention to the notion that the Empire is beginning to crack. Brother Day exiles Harry and his Foundation to the planet Terminus. If the predictions are wrong, the Foundation would be left to wither. But if the predictions prove correct, then the Empire would be seen to be supportive and use the success to uphold the regime. Harry reveals to Gal that this was the plan all along. And bringing her to Trantor was the key to it succeeding. Oh my gosh. 1 step ahead, 12 steps ahead. Harry also planned to build a second Foundation hidden from the first on the other side of the galaxy based on his homeland Helicon. Harry never intended to reach Terminus despite his public statements. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I like that. I really like that. 3 seasons so far. Oh my gosh. Look at those reviews. Audience 73. Not bad. Critics 87. Top critics 61. Whoa. So all the critics really love it. But of the ones that don't, they're most the top critics. That's crazy. I don't know if I've seen a jump like that. That's crazy. Wow. What's the decline here? So season 1, 72, season 2, 100%, season 3, 91. Interesting. It's getting better. Definitely than the first season. Why is that? First season 66, it's not great. 72 all critics, 54 top critics. What is happening there? Foundation's big budget production, of course it's Apple TV, right? Impressive performances are a sight to behold, but it struggles to wrangle the behemoth that is the source material into a fully satisfying series. Look at this review from one of the top critics. It would be enjoyable if they had a bit more fun with it, but watching it felt like it was in a meeting, a work meeting. Good grief. That kind of throws out that entire review for me. Series is what all science fiction shows should use as their standard. The scope of the storytelling, the production value, and the character performances are all outstanding. By keeping the audience at arm's length, Foundation also makes it much harder to connect with any of the characters despite solid performances. It's tough to take critics seriously if they only watch like 1 episode of the first season. That's brutal. Like when you're reading a critic's review and you realize, oh, they've only watched the pilot episode. Like, how are you reviewing a series on a pilot episode? Crazy. Absolute peak. I have no knowledge of the books, but a standalone thing. I really enjoyed it. First season, and a little odd with the pacing and storytelling, but it's still compelling. Love the characters and the twists. A+ performance from Lee Pace. Show's amazing. The visuals and music are some of the best I've seen in a show. All right. Obviously, quite the different tone there. Is the Foundation TV show worth watching? This is the Sci-Fi Reddit, by the way. I read the trilogy recently and loved it. Oh boy. I would say probably don't try to watch a show after you watch the book. Or watch the book. If you read the book and enjoyed it, don't do it. Just don't. Just enjoy the book for what it is and don't ever get anywhere near the show. Is the show good and faithful to the books? It never will be. they can get close, but it'll never be the same at all. As others noted, it's not intended as a faithful retelling of the books. That would be incredibly difficult, and yeah, that would be impossible. How many shows would you need to be able to do multiple books and be word for word retelling? That's just not possible. Even when Lord of the Rings did it, they didn't do word for word all the books and faithful retelling. Like, they did have to change a couple things and shorten some things and leave some things out. They tried to keep like the main story of it, but there's no way you can include all of it. Second season slaps. 2 words, Lee Pace. Think of it this way. There is a TV series that has nothing to do with Isaac Asimov or his Foundation books. It's called Moundation, and it's on Apple TV. It is a good series and worth watching. Has some cool ideas, and Lee Pace is great. Every now and again, you'll be like, I think they're taking this idea from Foundation. Is it legal for them to steal names like Foundation, like Harry Seldon? But Moundation and Foundation have no relation to each other. Yeah, that's the best way to look at it. It's not the same. It's close. It's like based on it, but it's not the same. Probably the smartest way to think about it, it's inspired by Foundation. Solid show, beautiful cinematography, production quality is incredibly shot, everything. First season is meh. Second season really kicks it up a notch, though. It's like Dune. Oh my gosh, those movies. Every time I watch the first one, well, that's not the best. They're really going to kick it up in Dune 2. And I watched the second one, I'm like, eh. They're like, well, they're going to really kick it up a notch in Dune 3. You just wait. Oh my gosh. If you watch it expecting the Foundation novels, you will be disappointed. If you watch it as Lee Pace in space, it's pretty good. I was unfamiliar with the Lee Pace fan club. Oh my gosh. It's not very faithful to the books. I would not go into it with high expectations. Thank you, Queefy Beefy. The name. I'm dead. Had to include the name there. Had to. That's so funny. It was worth watching just to see Lee Pace as Day. He was born for this role. Wow. Loved the show, didn't read the books. That's probably the best way to go about it. Lots of fans of the books seem to hate it. Well, it is what it is. This is why I don't read any books that I think will be turned into shows. Because I like shows. I like watching things. I'm a very visual medium enjoyer. So, yeah, if I were to watch something that I've read the book and really enjoyed, I don't think I would do it. Because it's never going to be the same. The story or the movie or show you have up here is always going to be better. Always. 100%. Because they're going to have to butcher the heck out of it to turn it into a screenplay. Doesn't matter who it is, what it is, who's working on it, who's in it. It will always be butchered if you love the books. Guaranteed. But let's go ahead and move on. That actually looks pretty good. Not going to lie. That scene I was into, and when it ended, I was like, oh. What happened? What was the verdict? What happened to the guy? Any sort of like doomsday kind of thing is just so entertaining. So entertaining. Like predicting the fall of an empire and they hate you for it and you're still going along with it. Like I'm in. I'm automatically in on that. Depends on how much time and money they spend on making the movie show. Very true. Very true. That is a good point as well. It's a lot goes into it. who's in it, how much money they got, who wrote the script, how much time, how long is the show going to be, or movie, or how many movies are they going to make? Like, there's a lot. And just to be able to shrink a book down, which is hundreds of pages, you have to cut so much of it. And maybe it's not like a huge moment of it, but you have to cut all the surrounding areas. And then sometimes they just make up things to try to connect the plot points because the plot points in the book are too specific, too minute to be able to link the events. So yeah, it can just get brutal. Absolutely brutal. What's up, Ferrari man? All right, let's move on to the next one. It is Stranger Things 5, Volume 1 TikTok edits, because it was wild. Oh boy. Spoiler alert on the newest Stranger Things release. Let's jump into it. Like I said, the last thing I watched of Stranger Things was, I think I got through the first season. Pretty sure. That was quite a few years ago. And life, right? I think I had started the channel not long after. So I think that kind of took priority. And I just dropped everything I was doing. So yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate side effects of doing this. It's so weird to see how much older everyone's gotten.
But she's not 5 anymore, is she?
Like the last time I saw Millie Bobby Brown, she was like a child.
Oh.
You're ridiculous.
You don't even know how old she is.
You know what date it is, right? November 3rd. Will was taken on the 6th. We are less than 3 days away. 3 days away from the day that changed everything.
So close. So close that I could feel his hand on mine.
And I told you, see, you're jam. Ha.
Don't have to tell me twice. My God. I remember I reacted to a Noah Schnapp and Millie Bobby Brown video quite a few years ago at this point, and it was instantly blocked, completely blocked. And then like months later, it was unblocked by the Noah Schnapp YouTube channel. And I was like, I appreciate that. I thought it was just dead in the water. I'm like, well, nobody will ever see it. But a couple months later, somebody must have been looking. I doubt it was Noah, but somebody was looking through, the blocked content and just, released it. And I'm like, hey, I appreciate that. right, we're starting with the thirst traps.
What is it about your presence that brings out their inner Neanderthal? And it was like I was there. Like I was with him in the hospital. Come on, baby. Come on, darling. Let me steal this moment from you now.
Harrington, you getting any signal? Tag is active.
Yeah, just give me a second.
Please don't make me think of it like you can't make a defense. Talk to me dirty, I'm talking back like a replay. So you let her play. Need to comprehend who's in control.
Sorry.
I'm gonna need you to talk to that receptionist and do your best sad love boy puppy dog.
Tonight, but your love ain't working at the pyramid no more. Working at the pyramid tonight, but your love ain't working at the pyramid. No, working at the pyramid tonight. Give her back shots, fall. She love daddy, think she like it raw. This her dick forever.
Some of these songs are just way out of pocket. Way out of pocket.
Promise me one thing. You must never, under any circumstance, go out into the woods.
It's like I could fly, you know? Like I could finally be rockin' Robin. Yeah. Rockin' Robin.
Take your time, will you?
I like dick.
Boy, this show has changed from the first season.
And Vecna likes to control the hive mind like a puppet master. So maybe when you tap into the hive, you can pull the strings too.
Except I'm not Vecna.
You sort of are.
You ain't new. If I died, let it gone, would you miss me? All I taste is blood in my tears when you kiss me. Riding in that.
Oh, you think I'm gone? gone 'cause I left, but I'm in the trees, I'm in the breeze, my footsteps on the ground. You'll see my face in every place, but you can't catch me now.
I told you to call 911! And I told you to eat your damn pie. Just sign your death warrant and shit.
That scene out of context is crazy. Oh my.
Up into the hive, you can pull the strings too.
Except I'm not Vecna.
You sort of are.
You're trying to say that I'm evil and hell-bent on destroying the world?
Totally. No, I'm just saying that, you know, you're like a wizard, like him.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Okay.
Well, that's a fun party trick. Dang.
No, I'm just saying that, you know, you're like a wizard, like him.
In D&D, Mike, not real life.
Oh, a wizard.
That'll do it. Good job, Steven. You know what? Maybe we should go back to the agreement from yesterday. What agreement? The no-talking agreement.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
I need a big boy.
Link down below in the YouTube video description for the... What the heck? Oh my gosh. Link down below in the YouTube video description for the original edit. Go throw it some much-deserved love. It's beautifully put together. Yeah, it's definitely different, obviously. That's probably the most I've seen of Stranger Things since I watched the show. It's obviously different in the fact that they're much older. So maybe, like, you know, the dialogue and stuff like that's a little bit more mature. But yeah, I don't know much about it. I really don't. I know that people loved Steve for some reason. Just absolutely loved Steve. I don't know exactly why, but hopefully we find out. Got some articles here. First season was released in 2016. Oh my gosh. So it took 9 years for 5 seasons? If you're a fan of Stranger Things, this must have been torture. Like, that's brutal. 2016 to 2025. Oh my gosh. Final season was released in 3 parts. Finale debuted on New Year's Eve. I remember posts about that. Set in the 80s, the series centers on the residents of a small fictional town of Hawkins, Indiana, After a young girl with psychokinetic abilities named 11 opens a gateway between Earth and a hostile alternate dimension known as the Upside Down. Duffer Brothers developed Stranger Things as a blend of investigative drama and supernatural horror infused with childlike wonder and references to the pop culture of the 80s. Show also drew on Cold War era experiments and conspiracy theories involving secret government programs. Received critical acclaim throughout its run. Praise for its characterization, atmosphere, I would agree with that. It looked very 80s. Acting, directing, writing, and nostalgic homage to the 80s cinema. Widely regarded as one of the greatest shows of all time. Flagship series for Netflix, drawing record viewership with each season's release. They had an animated spin-off, a prequel stage play, also inspired several books, comics, tie-in media, pop-up shop, and Dungeons & Dragons board game on the series. 5 seasons, 9 years. That is unacceptable. That's crazy. First season begins in 1983. Will Byers is abducted by a creature from the Upside Down, dubbed the Demogorgon. His mother, Joyce, police chief, and a group of volunteers search for him. A young psychokinetic girl named 11 escapes from Hawkins' lab. Found with Will's friends, 11 befriends and assists them in their effort to find Will. Mike's older sister, Nancy, and Will's older brother, Jonathan, learn about the Demogorgon and the existence of the Upside Down. Will is eventually found alive, while 11 disappears when killing the Demogorgon. All right, that's kind of the first season synopsis, and I do remember a lot of that. Interesting. Rotten Tomatoes, 83% average for the audience, 90 for all critics. Pretty high. Pretty absolutely high. Let's go by the season. Let's see what happened. 97, 94, 89, little dip in season 3. 90 for season 4. Season 5, 83. Interesting. So the question is, why isn't it 100? There's got to be some reason for it, right? Critics' consensus. Season 5, Stranger Things plays its cards just right, solidifying the pop culture classic with genuinely captivating genre fare. The audience says, this 5th season of Stranger Things unleashes mind-bending plot twists and throws us back with the pack, delivering a long-awaited payoff that's unlikely to please all fans. Ooh, interesting. This critic says the 5th and final season boils down to a series of remember when moments. The show probably should have hung up its hat a season or 2 earlier, but it's never easy to say goodbye. Season 5 was a total letdown. Volume 1 started out fine, but it went downhill during 2 and 3. Wow, you're still watching at 5 after you say it went downhill? It's pretty interesting. This person said, absolutely loved the setup in first half of season 5, even though not so popular episode 7 wasn't as bad as I thought. Show got campy in season 3, but was still fun. Season 4 was darker, but still campy. Season 1 was gold. And season 5 was something. For some reason, won't load. Watching this last season, it was evident that the plot holes in season 4 have gotten bigger. Finale episode was just underwhelming and so many loopholes within the storyline. Interesting. Stranger Things creator explains 11's fate after polarizing series finale. Oh boy. If we knew and they knew, then it defeats the entire purpose of her sacrifice. Can I close this? Yes, I can. Thank you. Answered some questions fans still have after the finale. Oh boy. It's one of those where it ends and you're like, what happened? Final episode of the show titled Chapter 8, The Right Side Up. I see what they did there. Clever. Debuted on Netflix a week after the previous batch of episodes dropped and has drawn widely polarized reactions. Fans looking online for answers on whether 11 really did die and why they would prefer to leave it up to fans. I don't think they're going to find the answer, though, on Google. Oh my gosh. The final episode of the show, the heroes from Hawkins, Indiana, ultimately managed to defeat Vecna thanks to the supernatural abilities of 11 and Will. After Joyce cuts off the villain's head, Hopper and Murray rig bombs on the interdimensional bridge to the Upside Down, with 11 seemingly staying behind in the Netherworld to sacrifice herself. In one of the final scenes of the show, Mike claims that 11 had actually faked her own death and had managed to make it out of the Upside Down. As he speaks, we see an older 11 wandering through a faraway place before reaching a town. However, it remains unclear whether 11 really survived or not. Ross Duffer, one of the creators, said, "Our goal, our hope is to leave it up to the fans, ultimately, and the audience in terms of what they believe, just as we leave it up to our characters in that basement to decide what they believe or not." Okay. Yeah, I can see why that's polarizing, because I see that as a cop-out. I get it. Like, the characters in the basement, they don't know if she's alive. They don't know where she is. Maybe she faked her own death. So the showrunners and creators make it so we don't even know. So they're trying to keep us on the same playing field as the other characters, basically. And it's up to you. What do you believe? It's kind of like Lost, I guess. So they pulled a Lost finale where you have no idea what the heck's happening. Yeah, I could see why a lot of people would be upset by that. A lot of people like, a nice clean bow, nice clean bow on the present, on the gift, if you will. They want it wrapped up. They want it obvious. They want it explained. Maybe they want to see a couple years down the road in like an epilogue kind of thing. And when you hold people hostage for 9 years for 5 seasons, it's a little disingenuous to end on that kind of a question. I understand it. It's a sci-fi. Those very often kind of end like this, where you're kind of left to, I don't know, what do you think? But I can totally understand why people are upset. And the people that like it, hey, congratulations. You got what you want. You can come up with whatever you want to come up with. The ending is yours. But, I don't know. Honestly, I'd rather 11 die and we know it. And this is coming from a non-watcher, by the way. I only watched 1 season. But personally, in my point of view, I would rather know that 11 died or didn't make it out than to be left to question whether or not. Because then it just feels incomplete. It feels like they just kind of phoned it in. Like they're like, well, it's too tough to kill off the main character or one of the main characters, so let's just leave it vague. Or, well, let's leave it vague because then, it leaves the door open for potentially a movie later on, or maybe, maybe we can hop in a couple more seasons. Who knows? But, yeah, that's frustrating. That's very frustrating. I guess Mad Men kind of ended like that, but you knew what Don Draper was going to do. You knew he was going to go back and do that Coke ad. Like, they gave you kind of what happened without saying what happened. Like, when he was on that, I think he was on Big Sur, that big mountain in California, doing that yoga thing. And the show ends with a pan to his face, like a zoom in, like really close. And he just smiles. Like it clicked. Everything clicked. He was going back to it. And then immediately after that, it plays Buy the World a Coke advertisement, meaning he came up with that. He went back to it. It kind of like told you what happened without telling you what happened. This kind of, oh man. Oh man, I get it, but at the same time, I get why people would be mad. Duffer Brothers reveal Stranger Things spin-off with new characters, new town, new world. And it'll tie off a pretty big loose end. Oh. Well, I guess I just answered my own question there. Matt Duffer, I've been pinned down and forced to blow this already, so I might as well tell you. There's lingering questions about the rock and where the rock came from in Henry's story in the finale, and the scientist and all that, because we had said that there is something in the finale that's going to connect to the spinoff. The spinoff is not about rocks or mining the rocks, but I would say that's the loose end that's not tied up, that will be tied up. Okay, so they're just focused on the next. He added that ultimately it's an entirely new mythology, but that this spin-off does connect and will answer some of the lingering questions. Oh my gosh. Oh. Jamie Campbell Bower surprises in Stranger Things play.
Yes, Papa.
Hello. What's your name?
It's time to meet your brothers and sisters.
That's funny. You know what I'm interested in? What are the overall... I gotta do it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it. What are people's thoughts? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Thoughts on Stranger Things final episode. This is from Reddit. Ending was amazing, and Holly was my favorite character this season. I liked it, and I thought they defeated Vecna quite quickly without high stakes, and I was surprised more characters didn't die or were injured, but I liked how the epilogue was a solid 40, 50 minutes to wrap everything up, see how everyone was moving on with their lives. I think 11 died, but I'm glad to see they believe she's alive. Maybe she is. Who knows? I'm a bit confused on why the military and Dr. K let the gang go at the end, especially Hopper. Bro literally killed dozens of their men. Wasn't explained at all. Realistically, they would have been imprisoned in a CIA black site or military prison for the rest of their lives. Yeah, absolutely. Nancy straight up shot and ended multiple soldiers the episode before. Yep. That would definitely happen. Thought the entire season felt so safe. Only 2 important characters die. 1 character was brought back from season 2 that nobody liked. And the other was given a maybe they actually survived ending. Anyone who got injured, basically only the Wheeler parents, recovered just fine. The stakes were supposed to be super high with the potential death of the entire effing world, but it never felt that tense or dangerous. Vecna and the Mind Flayer died so easily as well. I can buy Vecna's death, but the Mind Flayer basically just had a heart attack. Yeah, that's... oof. That does feel like they were playing it safe. Can you imagine if they played it like Game of Thrones, where almost every main character was just murdered in the last season? Oh my gosh. I bet people would have hated that. That's probably why they didn't. I honestly thought all of them would die. I thought that's how it would end, with all of them in the Upside Down, only defeating Vecna but staying there until it blows up. Showrunners did not have the cojones to ever do that. They love their own characters too much. Feel bad about Eleven's ending. I wanted her to have a good life with Mike and friends. Also wanted a bit more of Dimension X's origins and the creatures present there. I'll miss the vibe. Duffer Brothers fell in love with the cast too much to make any significant sacrifices. The epilogue was written first, and the final battle was just something they needed to get through. Yikes. Didn't even really need any significant sacrifices. Just make it harder to beat Vecna. Mind Flayer. Dustin and Steve literally just stabbed a few things, and next thing you know, the fight was over. Fight was over. Underwhelming. I enjoyed the season mostly. Season 4 ended with so much tension. It was a masterclass in setting up a penultimate season. Then Season 5 comes along, late to the party, and all that potential energy was dissipated. Overall, I wasn't a huge fan of Season 5, but I enjoyed the finale. It wasn't pleasant and safe and didn't sour anyone anything. Oh, it was pleasant and safe. That said, the best art really divides people, and it just seemed like a soft landing to me. I would have totally been cool with chaotic evil, but we got neutral good. That's a good point. Yeah, that would probably turn off and sour a lot of people. Kind of going scorched earth, if you will, with the final season. But then again, is there any other time where it makes sense to do that? Like, end on a frickin' banger. That would be... Maybe I'm just a fan of chaotic evil, I guess. I don't know. Really feels like they hand-waved away their Season 4 ending. Like, did the demons go home in Holiday, and they just put some metal slats over the hole? 100% agree, however, you'll still get hated for having this opinion. The ending was not perfect, but it was satisfying enough, and the episode was a major improvement over the rest of the season because they actually focused on the main cast for once. Oh, I bring it up so much. Well, we have Game of Thrones to show a crap ending after investing 10 years in the series. I was just happy it didn't get a Game of Thrones treatment. Well, there you go. If you were worried about it, it didn't get the Game of Thrones treatment. That's kind of the tricky part with the final battles, is that they almost never live up to what you're expecting. I don't know why that is. Maybe they just don't have the time for it. They'd rather spend the time on characters and their plot holes and their personal stories and interpersonal relationships or something like that, and the battle is just kind of an afterthought. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Let me know your thoughts on Stranger Things finale. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you wish it was different? Do you wouldn't change a thing? Let me know. All right, everybody. I hope you had a tremendous time as much as I did. That was 5 amazing member-requested videos. I hope you have a wonderful weekend going forward. Be sure to subscribe, follow, whichever one you want to do. And check out the website. If you would like to request your own videos, you certainly can. ToddReacts.com. Check out the merch as well. Join the Discord. I will see you in there. Just at me if you need me. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I will see you right back here tomorrow. We're doing a special Saturday stream just to try to catch up on videos. We're a little behind. But I will see you all tomorrow, and that will be uploaded tomorrow on YouTube. So I will see you all very soon. Take care. Have a great night, morning, whatever time it is. I'll see you. Bye-bye, everybody.